Attention drivers, final call for the morning drivers meeting. All drivers will drop what they are doing at this time, and either head to the base of the go-to building, or open their device to stream the drivers meeting live. Drivers meeting begins next. Oh, a few more stragglers. What the heck is that? More down. Morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Everyone nice and rested? Mostly? Can everyone hear me all right? Yep. Awesome. Raise your hand if you can't hear me. I made someone flinch back there. All right, that's good. That means the coffee's starting to kick in. We're starting to get some cognitive skills back this morning. But first off, I want to ask, who here is cold? 'Cause I know I am. How many of y'all went out in the morning warm-up yesterday? How were the track conditions? How was your car's conditions? But we had quite a few spins, and actually ended up having one driver that went off and made contact on his outlap. Don't mean to laugh or jest about that, because really it could happen to anybody, any skill level, going out in the morning, not realizing how cold it is, how cold your equipment is. But fortunately, the car was able to continue. The driver's okay. The only thing that was really damaged, possibly could have been, their ego. But it's a great reminder for all of us. Don't become complacent when you go out on track. Even if it's your first session of the day, get out there and already go ahead and put yourself in the mindset that you are on track and that you need to be paying attention to everything that's going on. For the most part, everyone did a fantastic job yesterday. We did have quite a few black flags, but they were mostly for mechanicals. We only had 2 stoppages that were due to impacts, and then the rest of the stoppages were due to Miatas breaking down at random places on track. And I really don't think we towed anything else in other than Miatas yesterday, which I've never seen before in a track event. So that was different. So hopefully all the Miatas are fixed at this point, or broken down enough that they can't go back out on track. So that means today should run pretty much flawlessly, right? Awesome. So like I said, y'all did a fantastic job. I really want to give y'all, a round of applause from myself and from our staff, because there were several times out there yesterday where drivers had mechanical failures out on track, but they were able to find their way to a safe place behind a barrier or use one of the cutouts where the walls are orange to get themselves away from the hot track. That way, all the other drivers on track were able to continue. I think it was the last blue group session. I think there was 4 offs. 4 off-track excursions in that session, and there was never a black flag, only local yellows, which is pretty incredible. So I mean, there was drivers out there pushing it. Occasionally, we do make mistakes, but the drivers that were making mistakes were still heads up enough to get themselves out of a bad situation, and get their cars back on either the track surface or behind a barrier. That way, the session was able to continue without interruption. Now, most of you have probably heard the term, or the saying, black flags breed black flags. So, how many of y'all yesterday ended up on grid while waiting for a car to be recovered, for a black flag incident? You get black flagged, everyone comes in, and now you're sitting there for 5 minutes or so, sitting in the pits waiting to go back out. Well, when that happens, it does get a little frustrating. You're sitting there twiddling your thumbs, wondering how much time you're going to get back in your session. Well, the worst thing you can do is start to get yourself amped up and start thinking about time remaining, how many laps am I going to get? Instead, focus on what are the best laps that you can turn. What is stuff that you can focus on in order to go out there and set yourself goals. So when you do get back on track, you're not just hunting those last tenths. We were here last year, and I was out on track. I think it was at the end of happy hour, and black flag came out, and I was chasing a personal best, and they let us go with 10 minutes remaining. And instead of hanging back and being patient, I just wanted to hunt every car down in front of me to try to get some clear track. I never got that clear track. Instead, I was overdriving my car, thinking that I was, Ayrton Senna out there or something. I went back and looked at my video, and there was nothing about that video that I wanted to post on YouTube for anyone else to see. It was terrible. I was chasing something that wasn't attainable at the time, and I didn't get anything out of it. I didn't get any satisfaction, didn't get any good lap times, didn't get any good data, and it was just because I went out and I pushed too hard instead of pulling it back a little. So appreciate the time that you have while you're out there today. Remember, you've got 3.5 hours of track time. You had 3.5 hours of track time yesterday. And if we can keep these stoppages to a minimum, that makes sure that all y'all have the best time that you can possibly have, and we can keep us on schedule and keep the event running flawlessly. Like I said yesterday, that is up to you as the drivers. We give you a format and we give you the track. What happens out on track is up to you. So if you think you're having a mechanical failure or you think you're putting down fluids, get off the track surface, find a safe place to pull off. That way we can come recover you. And the drivers, for the most part, that did that yesterday, did a great job of getting out of the way. Occasionally things break where you're not able to make it back, and that does happen. It is just part of the hobby. We're going to break stuff. I'm sure most of y'all were the type of kids that were just taking apart all their toys when they were little, and now we come out here and tear up toys, that are just a little bit more expensive. But once again, though, thank you for myself, VIR, and all the staff for the great job you did yesterday. Now, there are a few things I do want to talk about that they have brought up to us. One of the things we saw yesterday was passes occurring after checker. Once you see the checkered flag over there at turn 12, there is no more passing. The field is frozen. So if you are looking to get tire data or anything, watch your clocks. We checker flag 5 minutes before the end of each session. That gives us enough time to get everyone off track. So if you need to get tire data or something and you need to come in hot, and you notice it's getting close to the bottom or top of the hour, come in a lap early. Get that data. That way you're satisfied, with what you can do. Another big one was blend line. Now here at VIR, there is a very serious issue with drivers that move left immediately after the pits. So what we ask drivers to do to keep you all safe is please stay driver's right all the way to the apex of turn 1. That way, if there's cars coming down the front straightaway, they're able to pass you safely. If you see them coming, it's nice and reassuring for them. If you give them a point by to the left or 3 blinks on your turn stop, let them know that you see them coming and they can clear you. It doesn't matter if it's your first lap out, you're the first car in line, or if it's, parade lap for lunchtime. Put it to memory. Just stay driver's right to the apex of 1. That way you never put yourself in a bad situation, and it makes sure that it keeps you safe out there. When coming into the pits, you're done with your session. As you come through hog pen, or as you're dropping down the hill, get a fist up in the air, or turn your hazards on. This lets drivers behind you know, hey, I'm going to be pitting. And then stay tight, driver's right, and enter the pits. There was a couple times yesterday that drivers went all the way out track left, and then cut back across and entered the pits. If you do that in front of another driver, they might not be expecting that maneuver, and you could cause them to go fore off, spin, trying to avoid you. So just think about the drivers around you. And if you are coming in, make it very clear, make it very concise what you're planning on doing. Keep the car right. That way the drivers behind you can continue on lapping unaffected. Tow hooks. There was a couple cars yesterday that needed to be extracted, and they didn't have tow hooks already put in their car. Not having a tow hook on your car is a real quick way to end up having a mechanic go on track. It's very strange. There's some kind of correlation. So if you go ahead and put those tow hooks in this morning, you actually reduce your chances of having to be towed off. So just go ahead and take care of that this morning while you're thinking about it. The tow hook's going to be cold in your hand. I know it's chilly outside, but that way, the grumpy guy with the wrecker isn't the one out there, manhandling your car, trying to find a way to pull it off the track. Another reminder: if you do have a garage, there is no fuel storage in the garage. It's a big fire hazard, and there is definitely no refueling in the garage. VIR has a 2-strike policy. If they have to remind you twice about no fuel storage, they will remove your ability to rent garages in the future. And y'all that have been coming to VIR for years, they are very, very serious about it, and they will back it up. Also, there's been a problem lately, not necessarily with this group, of people using the access roads around VIR to bed brakes, try to diagnose issues with their cars, because it is, wide open, clear space. Remember, this is private property. There are families here. There's people walking around. So please don't use the access roads, to shake down your cars, bed your brakes in. Because once again, VIR doesn't like that, and they will stop you and say something about it. We are playing in somebody else's sandbox. We're very lucky to be able to come to this wonderful venue, and as long as we treat the track right, we take care of the paddock, we take care of each other, they're going to keep inviting us back for years to come. And I don't know about y'all, but this is a track that I definitely can't live without. So that really covers everything they brought up for us yesterday. One other thing I do want to bring up, I saw this in multiple run groups. Drivers getting a little excited with their point buys. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's that driver that has a car coming up behind him, and all of a sudden it's doing this out the window. Well, that could be 4 or 5 point buys right there. If somebody's coming up behind you, very clear, arm out the window, very clear, arm over the roof. Remember, 1 point buy per vehicle. So we'd like to see you pull your arm back in the car to give that second point buy. I know yesterday there was an issue between 2 drivers where a driver was being overtaken going into the S's, had his arm out the window, and left it there for what the second car in line decided was an extended period of time, long enough that he thought it was a point buy for himself as well. And both cars passed this one driver in tandem. Well, that driver was about to turn in on the second car, and that would not have happened if that third driver in line, hadn't just assumed that was a point buy. If you question whether or not it's a point buy, should you take the pass? No. Err on the side of safety. What's there to gain from it? But make sure all your point buys very clear, very concise. Personally, when I'm out there, I use turn signals, and I saw a couple times when I'm having my turn signal on, and the driver behind me, I guess, is waiting for my arm to come out the window, and we go halfway down the front straightaway with my right blinker blinking, and they won't pass me. And I finally get my arm out, do like that, and they go right by. So don't focus on the left side of the car. You should be able to pay attention to everything that's going around. Focus on what's in front of you, the car, the track, flaggers coming up, the next stations. That way, if you do see a blinking light, you're not focused somewhere else, and you do recognize that point buy and are able to get by the car safely. So, like I said, y'all did a great job yesterday. We're always going to see a few mistakes. Can anybody here give me an example of a mistake they made yesterday on track? Anyone? Anything. Could be a little mistake, could be a big mistake. We're not judging anybody here because we've all made them, right?
Could be your student's mistake?
It could be. Might not appreciate that, but...
Drifting out on the blend line.
Drifting out on the blend line. Jim? Fuel pickup problem. So the vehicle was extremely efficient with the way it picked up fuel. See, these are little mistakes. That was a mistake that was made yesterday by somebody who's been tracking since, 2008, 2007. We still make mistakes. We're human. But try to recognize those mistakes so they don't compound. Again, last year we were here, there was a driver who came up to me after the event, and unfortunately he had an off at turn 3. And he had decided the previous lap that he was going to go ahead and go into the pits. He was tired, it was happy hour, he turned all the good laps that he wanted to turn. Well, he decided going into hog pen, I'm going to do one more lap. Well, he was already, out of track mode, and he completely blew hog pen going through it. Got himself composed, went down the front straightaway, blew the braking zone, and turned in for turn 1. And then, by the time he got down to turn 3, he was so out of rhythm, he was not able to complete turn 3. And he ended up right over here. Again, he was okay, car's fixable, but you can back that whole scenario up to the first poor decision that the driver made. And he admitted this to me. I should have come in when I decided to come in. What's one more lap going to hurt? Apparently it hurt quite a bit. So listen to yourselves while you're out there. Make good decisions. If you find yourself starting to make little mistakes, don't let those mistakes compound. And if you're here with friends, which I hope most of you are, if you see your friends starting to make mistakes, or start complaining that their tires are going off, that the track is becoming greasy, they can't hit their marks, see if you can't convince them to pull it back a little bit. Get back on their marks. Get back to being consistent. Because at the end of the day, whoever has the lowest lap time isn't, going to impress myself or staff, your friends. It's the driver that's out there that's being the most consistent. A driver that's out there that we know we can trust being side by side with anywhere on the lap. Those are the drivers that I enjoy being with. And the majority of you are those drivers. That's why I love coming out here and running in any run group that I can. Because we have a mutual trust between all of us. Because we're all here. Why are we all out here? To have fun. So if any time you find yourself not having fun, a modification needs to be made. And it's not necessarily to the drivers around you. It's not necessarily to your car. A lot of times that modification that needs to be made is right here inside your helmet. Now, if you find yourself becoming frustrated, if you find yourself not having fun, change something. Come through the pits, take a breather. You've got plenty of time today. This ensures that you take your trophy home in the same condition that you brought it here in, less a little tire, less a little break, and you get to go home to see your friends, family, and pets. Now, how's that sound to y'all? Do you think we can accomplish that today? Fantastic. All right, I'm going to get off my soapbox. We're going to hit the meat and potatoes. The format's the same as it was yesterday. We're going to start off at 8:30 with that morning warm-up once again. Had a bunch of drivers go out yesterday. Do so again today if you'd like. Just remember to watch for slow-moving areas, like coming around turn 10, going into Oak Tree. We could have a bit of a backup there. Pay attention to what the corner works are doing. It's also a good opportunity to see which corner worker stations are manned, since they'll all be holding standing yellow for the entirety of the session. Helmets are required. Once again, novices with your instructors. And you may go as fast as the car in front of you, but there is no passing. 9 a.m. is going to be our first red group session, and then that'll be classroom 3 in the nice heated classroom building with Jim Hoffman. 9:40 first blue, 10:20 green, and that brings us to lunch once again. 11:45, we'll do parade laps. 2 or 3 laps behind a pace car, get you out there so you can see the lap at a little bit lower speed. Or if you got friends and family here that want to check out the lap, it's a great opportunity to get them out there and show them why you love this hobby. Afternoon, 30-minute rotation starting at 12 o'clock red, and that'll take us to the 4:30 happy hour once again. Now, how many of y'all went out during happy hour yesterday? Pretty good number of you. Now today, day 2 happy hour, by the time we get to 4:30, this paddock is really going to start clearing out. So this is when our staff, we get our best laps of the weekend. Because almost everyone else, out of tires, out of brakes, out of energy, ready to go home, see their families. And the people that still have a little bit left in reserve, get out there during happy hour and really turn some wonderful laps. Just because, of the low track density. So, for those of you that do stick around to the end of the day, I look forward to seeing you out there. Final checker will be at 5:30. And for those of you that are one-day drivers, you just need a reminder, happy hour is a blended run group. All drivers are welcome, novices with your instructors. Point buys always required. But it is blue group passing rules. You may pass anywhere on the lap with an appropriate point buy where you feel comfortable doing so. So, that's our schedule. Does anybody have any questions, comments, concerns, queries, quirks? Sir David.
Yes. Guys, I have a brand new student in a black 230. I'm doing everything I can to keep him on course and get satisfied as quickly as possible. See you in the rearview mirror. She's going to get by. Please don't ride it over. Please don't go by without a turn. Travel. I want to make this stay good. Try and get out of your way as quickly as you can. Thank you.
Thanks, David. Remember, if you ever encounter a slower vehicle out on track, maybe it's a first day driver, someone that's new to the hobby, maybe they're having an issue with their car that you might not know about. Treat them with the respect that you would expect to be treated with. And remember, back to your first days in this hobby, there's only takes one person to ruin the experience, and you might have never come back, if that happened to you on one of your first weekends. Anybody else have anything else to add? Austin? Jim? Oh, does anybody have an E36 throttle cable? Or nowhere to find one. If you say an E36, then I'm going to come slap you.
Check out the throttle.
Alright, so scavenger hunt. If anybody can find a throttle cable, you could make somebody's day. Again, that's an E36 throttle cable. Come by the Chin trailer and let us know if you got one, and we can get you in touch with Sherry. Alright, y'all. I'm going to talk about a couple events real quick that's coming up. Y'all make this easy. We're going to be at Road Atlanta coming up next weekend, right? But I don't think there's really any room. So if you're signed up, look forward to seeing you there. If not, we can see you in November. Our post-Thanksgiving event is open at this time. We'll be back at Eagles Canyon Raceway, the coolest new track in Texas, November 14th and 15th. Got a couple more Sebring dates coming up, October 24th and 25th and December 12th and 13th. That includes our night event. We'll be back at Daytona International Speedway over the Halloween weekend, including an open track day on Friday, and Barber Motorsports Park the same weekend. And if you want to get down to Miami, where it's definitely warmer than this, we'll be at Homestead November 21st, 22nd. And we wrap up our calendar year out in Texas on December 12th and 13th at MSR Houston. Like I said yesterday, our calendar is underway for 2021. We'll be hopefully getting that out to y'all in the coming month. And look forward to seeing y'all at some more events next year. If you're a one-day driver, please hang out here for a minute. If you're an instructor, please go with Jim Hoffman over to the other side of the Chin trailer. Everybody else, I want to ask y'all, why are y'all here today? Who is responsible for your safety?
We are.
Y'all have a great time out there. Make good decisions. We'll see you at Checkered Flag. One-day drivers, hang out for a second. Got a few things we want to talk about, and we'll get you out on track. All right, we got One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Alright, I'll make this very brief for y'all. This is going to start getting a little bit loud. Is it anybody's first time to VIR? No. Awesome. So you all know how to get on and off pit road using the middle access road? Perfect. Then I'm going to keep this very brief. Flag. So if you have spin, a 4 off, massive loss of control, please come self-reporting to the pits. We just want to make sure that you're okay. We'll get you back out on track. The longer you make them wait on the pits for you, the longer they're going to hold you in the pits because you made them wait. So assume if you do something silly out there, a corner worker did see you, just go ahead and come in. All we want to do is just make sure that you're all right. We're going to get you back out there on track. If you see anything out there on track that makes you feel uncomfortable, please come talk to us at the trailer. Y'all are our eyes and ears. We don't have the ability to be out on track in every session. So anything that makes you uncomfortable, we would like to handle. If you have an issue with somebody else in the paddock, same thing. Please come talk to us. We'll go handle that situation and make sure everybody's hunky-dory. We're all out here to have fun. Y'all brought your trophies to the track with you. I'm not checking lap times, giving out trophies at the end of the day or anything. So just go out there and have fun. You know, that's why we all signed up to do this. And I'm sure everybody, like myself, left their egos at home. Black flag protocol. If you see a black flag pointed at you, it's a single. Come in. We just want to check you out. Black flag all. Come back to the pits quickly and safely. We're going to get you back on the track. If you see a red flag means we've had a course blockage. Maybe there's a fire. Whatever it is, we need to freeze the field on track. So if you see a red flag, first thing you should do is check your inside mirror. Check your mirrors in general. If there's a car behind you, get a fist up in the air. Let them know. Try to get their attention. This is going to signal to them that you're going to be slowing down. Then come to a safe, controlled stop offline in view of your next man corner worker station. And there you can wait until they show you the signal to go back to the pits, which will be an open black flag. So once again, if you do happen to see a red flag, first thing you should do is not panic. Stay calm. Everything's all right. Check your mirrors.